let's take a look at the International Harvester. Got a little something special going on under the hood with this one. I wish we had a fucking sandwich wrapped up in cellophane to pull out of that fucking box. Like, oh, and also it serves as lunch is served. Pull a sandwich out, that'd be great. So for this, with the supercharger and everything, we decided we were gonna do, I kind of came up with this idea because it's got this air vent right across the front here. And so I wanted to utilize that. There goes Sergio in our video. We wanted to utilize this air vent. And so we came up with this plan. Basically, we're calling it the air harvester, which kind of goes with the idea like it's a factory ram air system. If you look at it, we wanted it to be kind of crude and like rudimentary looking tractor parts, so it looked like it was actual International Harvester parts. So that's why this is all fabricated up, has that kind of stamped steel look. Open it up. There's all your filter system. Air will go through here. We'll have a screen right there and stuff. Up underside of the hood to seal it off. This will end up having a rubber seal that'll come down and drop right across that. And that way the engine compartment is basically sealed off from that big opening. So it'll look all cool in factory. And let's go and I'll show you some of the drawings for it and stuff, and then we'll see if we can track down Phil. Okay, so these are the original renderings for the air harvester on the International Harvester pickup. The idea was kind of do something that had a factory kind of ram air system, like as though in some imaginary world International Harvester had performance package, but still had it like tractor parts. So started off with something like that, basically utilizing the opening at the tip of the hood, and then that worked into something more like this, just based on what we were working with. These are what Phil was able to kind of work out the idea from, and so I kind of drafted up kind of some rough ideas and dimensions on how that should look, and that's pretty much it. And Phil did a kick-ass job putting it together after that. Well, let's take these and go find Phil. He's got to be out there somewhere. I wish we had a fucking sandwich wrapped up in cellophane to pull out of that fucking box. Like, oh, and also it serves as lunch is served. Pull a sandwich out, that'd be great. Like for smuggling dope across the border or something. But instead of smuggling dope, peanut butter sandwiches. You don't by chance have a sandwich wrapped in cellophane, do you? Dang. We were gonna pull it out of that lunchbox.
I have a Subway sandwich in the fridge.
Do you?
From yesterday.
Maybe.
All right.
So we found Phil. Let's have Phil talk about the firewall and the fender wells and stuff and what all has been done. What he did.
Just by looking at it, you know, you can tell some work's been done, but it's a lot more intricate than that. So it's kind of hard to choose and pick where to start. So let's just go back to the beginning, and we'll talk about the firewall. Now, originally it was some holes were patched and some things were fixed, some rust was fixed, but then we decided to go ahead and print this wraparound to move the throttle body around to this other side. So with that, we needed clearance. Originally, that was just cut out, so we didn't really know how it was going to tie into everything, and these body lines weren't there before. So basically, I was just left to fill in all the voids. And the way I did that was, you know, the rest of the truck has a lot of contours and radiuses, so I tried to keep that throughout the whole truck. After I got the shape that I wanted, I kind of just filled it all in and made it work. So then once that was done, we moved to the inner fenders. Now, I don't know if you can tell now, but these fenders follow the same radius as the stock ones. The only difference is they continue down lower to the frame, and I kept it real tight to the frame. I just thought it looked a lot cleaner, and it follows the contour of the frame as it comes up. These hinges that were made in-house, we needed them to drop down lower, so that's why you see those indentations in there, the little bubbles. And that was Jeff's idea. He thought it'd be cool to just kind of adjust where we need it to fit around it. Look down here, you can see there's this little detail that I really like, and I did that for multiple reasons. Is to make it more rigid, give it a more finished look. In the end, it made it look a lot better. So after the fender wells were done, then we moved to our intake box here. Now Jeff had a cool idea, and he had mentioned about using a muffler shape as his inspiration, and so we knew that we wanted to have a air filter in here. So once we got the dimensions that we kind of needed, then I just started with my two sides. Now to do that, I made a buck, you can see here, out of aluminum. And this is just 2 pieces of aluminum that I welded together and put an edge on it so that I can hammer form my piece of aluminum around. And once I had those to the shapes that I liked, then it was just a matter of wrapping it around. And that was also done in one piece. So with that initial shape there, I kind of just left it because I wasn't ready to finalize it. So then I moved up here and kind of just worked with the space that we had. We wanted this tray because when you close the hood here, there's a big indentation there. So it was gonna suck up air regardless. So yeah, we came up with this cool idea to just kind of have this collector. And they thought it would be a good idea to have 2 halves come together to just, you know, when it was open, you can see all the details, and when it was closed, it would be functional. And after that, I just kind of started putting in little details here and there. You get cut out every time I say
Yeah, or at least some.
All right, so so basically, yeah, I think that's about it. One thing that was really challenging was trying to make these 2 pieces meet, and this one was being built upside down, and having the 2 halves come together, that was a bit of a challenge. So it was a lot of on and off, back and forth fitting, but that's the name of the game. For this bottom tray, one thing that I knew that I didn't want to do was make it too big, so I kind of had the space that I had allotted, and we didn't want to cover up the radiator that we spent a lot of time doing. And we did need it to drop down lower so it wouldn't stick out so far when the hood was closed. So I just started off with this lip, and I broke it down to come out just enough to see the radiator, and I made my bottom shape to come out in those corners. And then I just added details with these bead lines. After that was completed, I put a shape on this edge, and then I created this middle piece. Now, with that piece, we knew that it needed to be the same shape until it went around the 6-inch diameter tube going into the intake. So after I had my back piece, I made a third piece to complete this lip to accept this rubber. So once the two halves were closed, it would be a true seal. So after those pieces were welded and fit and hammered together, then it was just a means of notching for what I needed. It was a radiator cap, spaces for the hood hinges, and it's pretty much straightforward. Now with this top piece, it was kind of a challenge because of the shape of the hood. With all these different radiuses and contours and having it fit the tray at the bottom, it was a bit of a challenge. But the process was the same, just using the space that I had, getting the shape I needed, and everything's there for a reason. You know, this step is here because I wanted it to have an indentation when it was closed, so it would have a true surface to seal on, which would be this ledge here. And same thing with the top. After it was completed, I notched out for these hood hinges that we built, these strikers. Like I said before, you know, the parts make themselves, and you can't see it now because this is in here, but this wraps around that original lip of that hood. And having the two halves come together, that was a bit of a challenge. So it was a lot of on and off, back and forth fitting, but that's the name of the game. So it's kind of just basically paying attention to the space that you have and completing the things that you need is kind of how a lot of fabrication is done from me personally.
We're really happy with how this has turned out. There's those renderings.